TinkerCAD tips. It's spooky season again, and with that in mind, let me show you guys how I made these backlighted LED coffins with the ghosts and spiders and everything on them. Right here in the middle, I've got a little model of the little LED. It's a little battery-operated LED, and I'll post a link to these. I bought these on Amazon. They're super inexpensive. And if I can here, let me superimpose a little video of what these look like when they're lighted. Hopefully I can get that superimposed up here. I'll give that a second while you guys watch that. All right, so let me show you how I made these. Let's go ahead and grab all of this. Move this up out of the way. Now this is probably going to stretch over 2 tutorials because there's several steps here. Now all of this starts with this sketch that I made of a coffin outline here. I made this in the sketch tool, and I'm not going to bother to show you how to do that by now. Everybody should have used or learned to use the sketch tool. But I started with this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do all of this with SVG objects. So I'm going to take this here. I'm going to export it as an SVG. I'm going to save it to my little STL folders here. Let's slide that up out of the way. Let's import that back in. And import. Give it a moment, and there we have that. Let's go ahead and make that 2 millimeters high. Let's change the color here to, for now, this blue color. Okay, so we have that one. Now we're going to need to make another one. But in order to make the other one, which is going to be a little smaller, we have to work with this one here first. So while I have this selected, I'm going to hit Control-D to duplicate. And then over here in the fill mode, I'm going to change this to inner line. I'm going to have the line width at 6 millimeters. I'm going to drag this up. This will be the sides of our coffin here. Okay. Now while I have this, I'm going to do another duplicate on here. Control-D. I'm going to drag this over here. These two I'm going to drag over here. Now on this one over here, we're going to make the smaller piece that will become this white part that we see up here. I'm going to zoom in here. So on this part of it, this inner line part of it, I'm going to change that to a hole shape. We can go ahead and bring this down here. I'm going to select the two of those, and I'm going to hit Control-G to union group them. So now we have this smaller part. And again, I want this to be an SVG. So I'm going to export that as an SVG. We'll just go ahead and overlay our original one. Okay, we're going to move that one up out of the way. Click Import. Select that one. Click Art here. We're not going to change the dimensions at all. We're going to click Import. Okay, there we have the smaller one. Okay, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to grab this bottom part. I want to make another duplicate of that so I have both the larger part and the smaller part, both in SVG format. We'll make this one 2 millimeters as well. And we can make that blue for the time being. All right, so we have the larger one in SVG format, the smaller one in SVG format, as you can see there. Okay, let's come back over to this one here, and let's focus on this part of it over here. Now on the inside of this, I need like a little cylinder to hold this little LED light. So I'm going to bring out a whole cylinder here. Now on this LED, I had done some careful measuring, and it's 14.3 millimeters in size. So accounting for a little bit of tolerance, I'm going to change this. I'm holding Alt and Shift. Now I'm going to change this to 14.4. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. I'm going to bring out a solid cylinder here. Let's align the two of those. I'm going to select them both, hit L to align. In that direction, in that direction. And let's make this outer cylinder just a little bit bigger. Again, holding Alt and Shift so everything moves in all axes. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, I'm going to move that whole cylinder in there a little bit. There we go. I'm going to select the two of those, Control G to group. There we have that. Let's bring this down in size a little bit. Let's go ahead and change that to that same blue color. Now we're going to center it in this lower portion here, the bottom part of the coffin. So while this is selected, I'm going to hold down Shift, select the bottom of the coffin, L for align. I'm going to click on the bottom part of the coffin to make it the master so it doesn't move. We're going to center that direction, that direction. Now I do want to move this up just a little bit. Okay. For a moment here, let's make this transparent. Let's move our copy of our LED here. Let's do a Control D to copy it. We'll bring this up just a little bit. So we want that cylinder there, that whole cylinder, to be just tall enough to hold that LED in place, so we can bring this down just a wee bit. That should be pretty good. Click on that LED, we can go ahead and delete that. Let's change this outside back to non-transparent. Okay, now when I make this, I want to be sure that there's enough space between that LED and the top of this so that the LED light can shine to all parts of the front of it. So let's bring this down just a little bit. That should be good. Make it opaque again. All right, now I'm going to grab all three of those parts. I'm going to do Control G to group those together. And for now, let's go ahead and make those black. So that completes the bottom part of the coffin. So we're nearing about 8 minutes here. So let's end part 1. Like, follow, repost as always. If you have comments or questions, be sure to drop those in the comments. Again, if you have ideas for other TinkerCAD tips and tutorials, let me know. You can drop me a DM with those. So be watching for part 2 when we're going to make the front part of these little Halloween spooky LED backlit coffins. So we'll see you on the next one. Until then, happy spooky season and happy tinkering.